Okay.
We are live on Facebook. Let me press the record button. All right, it's yours.
Thank you, Donnell. And good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is John Rutenberg, and today I'm your MC. So on February, you're jumping past me, but that photograph will be replaced by the new photograph, I would imagine. But even so, we've now celebrated 4 years. 4 years in a week because of folks like you showing up every week, and I appreciate that. Next slide, please. John Foster mentioned a few moments ago, please go to 1MillionCups app and tell them that you are at our meeting today by signing in and clicking the attendance button. If it doesn't work for you, you can let any of us know, but we know it already. They've had issues with the app. And we do also submit an attendance survey. Next slide, please. So we are about entrepreneurship, community, and education. John Crowder is with us today from CopeNotes. He's going to present in a short bit. And what you'll learn, John, is you've got a very serious, bright group of people who are warm, tender, and caring about you. And you are our focus today, and we love the fact that you've joined us. Next slide, please. Our mission is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connections for all types of new and emerging businesses. So where you can suggest an idea that John Crowder might in fact implement is awesome. And it's done in a way where everyone can feel secure, safe, and you don't need to be defensive. Next slide, please. We make presentations, not pitches. One can't raise money here. One can ask for help in learning how to raise money, but we're not a pitch organization. You'll find the folks in the room are real and that the relationships that have been formed in this room are real and authentic. Next slide, please. I mentioned safe and supportive. That's really important. Why else would someone like Johnny Crowder come and pour out his soul in front of us? If we attacked him, he might be the last guy to join a meeting. Rather, we'll offer insights, questions, and the beauty, John, is it's all recorded. So while you'll be listening, you don't have to take notes. You don't have to feel the pressure to capture everything. We are an all-volunteer organization, and we love anyone in this room to step forward and volunteer to be an organizer or volunteer to be a presenter, because we're only as strong as you. And without your voluntary contribution, we could wither away. So next slide, please. Join our community if you haven't already. Make sure you're getting our emails, go online, get our news, and let us hear feedback from you. The organizers meet every Monday, and if you give us an idea, it will be discussed at our Monday's meetings. Next slide, please. Again, share our information. And whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter, we're on all of those. And if you are, make sure you're following 1MillionCups. And please invite a friend or a business colleague to next Wednesday's meeting. If you did, rather than having 22 people in the room, we'll have 44 people in the room. And that's a challenge that I ask you to meet. Next slide, please. So here are our organizers. We're going to save time and not go around the room to let everyone have an intro. But please know that this is the group that is vetting presenters, sending out the emails, doing all the responsibilities to make every Wednesday meeting a success. And please know that there are 160 some odd chapters in America of 1 Million Cups, and we're among the minority of chapters that meet every Wednesday. And that's significant. We meet every Wednesday. And that's fabulous, because if you want to make authentic relationships, you got to see the people all the time. Next slide, please. I will allow the ambassadors in the room to introduce themselves, because the ambassadors are responsible to find presenters for us. So many of the presenters who you see each week is coming because an ambassador worked hard to lasso them and bring them in. And so I see John, Lisa, and Reggie. If I'm missing anyone, please also jump in. John?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it. It is the highlight of the middle of the week for me to be here. And it is, I learn something every week and just enjoy the group. So I appreciate being here. And I apologize, John, the last 2 weeks recovering from COVID. So I've been slacking my ambassador duties.
Lisa.
Good morning, everyone. I wear a couple of hats, just like you. I am the founder and CEO of DC Fempreneur. It's a community that supports female entrepreneurs. And I also run a program for the Virginia Small Business Development Center called ICAP. So I usually am excited to meet whoever is presenting, because usually we have great insights on how to help them and resources that are available. Reggie.
Hi, I'm Reggie Holmes with Enthuse Creative. I'm a coffee sponsor, so I'll speak again in a few moments, I think.
Fantastic. Okay, to make our business work, we have two sponsors, and I'll introduce John Yu, and then Reggie will reintroduce himself.
Thanks, John. So as John mentioned, we have two sponsors every month. The first is a space sponsor. When we used to meet in person, we used to meet at Office Evolution. It's a fantastic space. I represent Office Evolution in Tyson's Corner. We are a co-working and shared office space provider, and we provide fully furnished office space as well as virtual office solutions and meeting rooms for small business owners. They're convenient and very flexible. And before I introduce Reggie, if you would like to become a coffee sponsor for in future month, please reach out to me or any of the organizers. It's a great way to tell us about your business. And now that we're meeting in virtually, you do not even need to provide us with coffee. So it's a fantastic return on your investment. So with that, let me introduce Reggie from Enthuse Creative, who has been the coffee sponsor for the month of February.
Thank you, John. I'm Reggie Holmes. My company's called Enthuse Creative. It's a brand strategy and creative studio based here in the DC metro area. What I do is help entities, entrepreneurs, and experts to turn their big ideas into big impact. My background is in graphic design, so I've always believed in things looking good. Through my work as a brand strategist, I've learned that it's not just important to look good, it's important to be understood. And so I try to bring together the strategic thought side as well as the creative design side and merge that together in a package that helps businesses to be able to create a brand that they feel enthusiastic about, particularly looking to connect with small and medium-sized businesses to help them through the rebranding, repositioning process that a lot of people are going through in these rapidly changing times. So that's a great connection for me. I love being a part of this community for the 4 years that it's been here. And I'm really excited to see how things continue to grow and prosper. Thanks.
Thank you both. And again, just to emphasize John Yu's request, if you'd like to be a sponsor or coffee sponsor in the future, please speak to John or any of the organizers. I think everyone can read this. We're shortly going to move into the presentation by John Crowder. Please put your mics on mute. Shortly thereafter, Jen Dalton will lead us as our moderator for Q&A. And, we'll use the hand icon, etc. And next slide, please. Well, thank you all for being here today. It's now my pleasure to introduce Johnny Crowder, who is going to lead us in a discussion on CopeNotes. John, you're up.
Good morning. I think for simplicity's sake, if everybody calls me Johnny, that would make everything a lot easier. That's also my name, which helps. So my name is Johnny Crowder, and I am the founder and CEO of CopeNotes, and I'm excited to spend time with y'all today. So the question about the question that I want to cover with y'all after the presentation, I guess something to be cooking in the back of your mind as I'm presenting, is whether or not we should pursue like a traditional outbound enterprise sales approach, like having business development representatives and then booking demos and bringing them to close, or if we should do more of like the marketing approach, where really just letting the marketplace know who we are and what we do, and then driving inbound. So basically outbound versus inbound. There are pros and cons with both that we can dig into during the Q&A part. Next slide, please. Thanks. Yeah, this is the normal title slide, which is basically just showing you that what we do is really simple. We're using text messages to improve mental and emotional health. And I will mention before we go to the next slide, I work in behavioral health because I grew up in and out of treatment. So ever since I was in grade school, I was exhibiting a lot of different symptoms of mental illness. I began formal treatment in high school, and I wound up going to college for psychology and working in the behavioral health field back in 2011. So it's been about 10 years of learning about the brain, not only in my personal life, but also through formal education and working in peer support. So all of this is informed by lived experience. Next slide, please. So if you're not familiar with the behavioral health landscape right now, you're lucky, because most people have experienced something like this. So there are people like me in the center that if you gave us a list of mental health resources, we would give you a list of reasons why we didn't really want to use them. It might be accessibility, it might be privacy, it might be us judging ourselves, either worried about what other people will think, or me worried about what I think about myself. Like, what does it say about me if I'm using a behavioral health resource? Cost, you name it. There's all sorts of excuses as to why I wouldn't want to use a behavioral health resource. And by the time I do reach out, in fact, it takes on average 10 years for someone to reach out for support after they start experiencing these symptoms. By the time we do reach out to a provider, on the left, those providers say, hey, we are underfunded and understaffed, and I wish we could help you, but if you get in line, hopefully we can help you eventually. And as a result, on the right, you see a lot of communities are actually reacting to crises rather than preventing them. But CopeNotes is all about prevention and intervention. Like, we want to get there before the tragedy, before the news story, before the headline, and equip people with the skills they'll need to navigate those situations when they get there. Next slide, please. We get this question a lot, especially halfway through a presentation. I'll see questions in the chat like, I can't find it on the App Store. It's because it's not an app, and that's on purpose. So there are a few obvious reasons why we chose SMS. Obviously, you don't have to download another app, which is nice. I'm sure you already have over 100 on your phone. You don't have to remember passwords. You don't have to do software updates. You're not sharing personal data with the App Store or the Google Play Store, which is invaluable when it comes to behavioral health. But the bottom three components here are really the main reasons why we chose SMS, just plain old text messages. So the first one is engagement. It is actually 25 to 50 times more likely that you will open a text message than an app notification. So like far and away, it is just a far more effective way to communicate with people in the modern era. And you might say, well, that's cool for my teenage son, but what about me? I'm a seasoned, intelligent adult. But actually, 97% of adults prefer texting to any other medium. So it's actually the most popular form of communication across demographic. But the third component here, equity, I think was the deal maker for us, for SMS. There are 2.5 billion people around the world who use non-smart cell phones. And 36 million of those, 11% of the US population, these people are here in America and wouldn't be able to download even the most awesome mental health app. So we knew that we didn't want to make it app dependent. Next slide, please. So what we do, like I said on the first slide, we provide daily mental health support via text message. But here's what that actually looks like. All of the messages are short and easy to understand because they're written by peers with lived experience. They're not written by a clinician wagging their finger saying, here's what I wish you would have done. Actually, it's a peer saying, here's what I wish someone would have said to me when I was going through it. So all of the messages are rooted in lived experience, but then they are reviewed by mental health professionals, making sure that the texts are based on proven psychological principles, they are applicable across demographic. And then whether it's a psychology fact or a journaling prompt or an exercise, whatever it is that we're sending, when you receive it, you're the only person in the world to receive that text at that time. So it's not one massive spam text that goes out to everybody on our list. Everyone gets their own unique text sequence with CopeNotes, and the texts are delivered at random times. So you never know when we will text you or what the text will say. And I'll elaborate on that EMI thing on the next slide. And the cool part is then you can journal back. Oh, I didn't mean to say next slide. My bad. And then you can journal back and speak freely and say whatever you want, whenever you want. And the reason why people feel safe doing that, talking about their work or their marriage or whatever it is because on the bottom left, you'll see that CopeNotes is 100% anonymous and confidential, which means right now, Reggie and John and John and John and John could all sign up for CopeNotes right now, and I would have no idea that you did. We don't collect your name, address, anything like that. So we want to keep it that way. We want to make sure that all we have on file for you is a phone number, which means that you really can speak freely without worrying about anything you share being made public. Next slide, please. So here's the coolest part of the whole presentation. If you've been like scrolling through Twitter, please stop for 45 seconds because this slide is mind-blowing. I literally gave a TED talk about the neuroscience behind CopeNotes. That's how much I care about this stuff. I went to school for this. I read about it in bed at night. It's fascinating to me. Long story short, we are using these text messages to deliver something called ecological momentary interventions, or EMIs. And that's a fancy way of saying that we are interrupting negative thought patterns with catalysts for positive thought. And over time, what happens in your brain is the synapses in your brain associated with negative thought grow further apart, while the synapses associated with positive thought grow closer together through repetition. It's just like building a muscle. So the coolest thing about CopeNotes is you'll see on the top right, it's a set it and forget it resource, which means you make one decision to sign up for CopeNotes, and every single day thereafter, once or twice a day, we will initiate that process in your brain. Our primary job is interrupting negative thought patterns in your brain on a consistent enough basis for your brain to start prioritizing positive thought and forming new neural pathways associated with coping skills and resilience. Super fascinating stuff, but I'm keeping an eye on the clock. Next slide, please. Who we serve. We have 3 different subscription tiers, I guess technically 4. So we have personal subscriptions for you and me. We could just go to the website and sign up for ourselves. We have gift and family subscriptions. So this is if I wanted to buy one for John, or if I wanted to buy one for John, and myself, then we could all have a family plan, but it's really just a way of incorporating behavioral health in like a group setting. But about 80% of our revenue comes from that enterprise side. So we're contracting with schools, businesses, agencies, governments, hospitals, basically any large group, could be a nonprofit or for-profit, that wants to support the behavioral health of a large amount of people, but they're like, we don't know if these people have diagnoses or not. We don't know what stage of recovery they're in, or even if they would use something like therapy or medication. We just need kind of like the toothbrush and floss for this whole population, something that everybody can use regardless of where they are in that spectrum. But the coolest thing about our plans is that they are extremely affordable. If you're familiar with the digital behavioral health space, you know that it can get pricey quickly, hundreds and hundreds of dollars per month for a lot of these resources. CopeNotes provides a full year of daily support for less than one therapy session. So a full year is going to be like $100 and change, which is an outstanding value. If anyone's been in treatment, you know that firsthand. Next slide, please. The impact, this is more of like a brag slide. It's just to show that like we're new, we're about to enter our 5th year in business, but we're not that new. We've exchanged over 1 million messages with users in 96 countries all around the world. And there are some testimonials there on the side that I'll skip in the interest of time, but on our website, right in the main navigation, there's a reviews tab. And you can read through the impact that CopeNotes has made on people's lives, which is kind of mind-blowing. I scroll through it whenever I get tired or burnt out, and it really helps inspire me to keep working on this. On the bottom, you'll see some of our community partners. Some you might recognize, like Mental Health America. There's also a state called New York that you might have heard of that we contract with, which was a really exciting moment for us. And but really the only important thing in this entire presentation is the 86% thing, just the fact that it works. Like I'm passionate about what we do because I've lived through it firsthand. I'm passionate about it because this is what I got my education in. But the main reason I'm passionate about it, the only reason you should be passionate about it, is that it actually works. 86% of users report improved mental health within 30 days, which is an astonishing metric. If you're familiar at all with success rates for anything else in the behavioral health space, I like have to blink my eyes and do this like a cartoon character every time I see that number. Next slide, please. Quick overview of indirect competitors. I don't like phrasing competitors because I view it as a continuum of care. So we're all doing things that other places don't do. BetterHelp and Talkspace are probably the most known online therapy resources. And again, we're not providing online therapy. So there's a pretty big distinction there, but a lot of people compare us to them. Number one, they're an order of magnitude more expensive than CopeNotes, like several orders of magnitude more expensive. The quality of your service can really vary by the counselor that you are randomly assigned to. So it's like 2 different people can have completely different experiences there because you never know. It's kind of like life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Could be a great counselor, could be a not so great counselor. And also a fair amount of PHI is collected there, which makes a lot of folks like myself who are pretty privacy minded kind of wary about using the resource. Traditional therapy has its obvious setbacks. Number one, it's pretty dang inconvenient. Number two, insurance can be an absolute nightmare, especially for someone who is self-employed. And then third, it can just feel downright uncomfortable to like meet with someone in person or to go to sit in a clinical setting, or even videoing someone can feel pretty unsettling. The third category there is supposed to say calm and headspace. And these are more of like your meditation apps. They're not comprehensive or holistic. Meditation is not really widely accepted. There are a lot of people who are like, I'm not really trying to get into all that hippie stuff. So it has like kind of a negative connotation in some circles. And also it requires you to make a conscious decision to participate, whereas CopeNotes does not require that. I think there's one more slide. Oh yeah. We have around 22,000 users, and all of that has come from one of these categories. So press and media, fortunately, like local press has really thought what we're doing is pretty cool. And then that local press will like get syndicated, and then people will reach out to us for interviews on like podcasts and stuff. So people tend to find it to be a pretty interesting idea. And as a bootstrap startup, press and media has done more to let people know that we exist than we could ever actually afford to do in the way of advertising and marketing. Word of mouth has been tremendous for us. And same with the trial and gift subscriptions. People go to our website, use a free trial, and then might get a subscription for a friend or family member. And that really makes it kind of like sticky socially, where they're like, oh, this is so cool. I got a subscription for my daughter and she loves it. So it's this kind of like get one, give one kind of mentality. Community partnerships, that's like the Mental Health America and the state of New York. Those contracts that we sign with those enterprise partners make subscriptions available to the people those community partners serve for free, which is really cool. So like if a school district pays, students get it for free. If an employer pays, the employees get it for free, which is awesome. I also do, part of my job is doing public advocacy. So my primary source of income is not like, I'm not paying myself a big fat CEO salary from CopeNotes. I actually do public speaking, and I'll give keynotes and trainings and talks about behavioral health and resilience and talk about what I've been through. And a lot of times at those conferences, I will not only give a talk, but then also we get a table at that event where we'll be able to set up some CopeNotes stuff, and that drives a lot of enterprise business there. So I know I'm a teeny bit over time, but I think that was the last slide, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so this one's just like a, hey, hit us up and let's talk kind of a slide. But thank you for letting me go a little bit over. And back to the challenge, just as a refresher, the original question is, now that we are growing and planning a talent roadmap, we're trying to figure out if we should hire some business development reps and some account executives to like go out into the market and be like cold call, cold email, this is who we are, this is what we provide, or put that same amount of time and energy and funding into marketing, like top of funnel stuff, letting people know who we are and what we do, and then hoping those inbound leads will bear fruit.
Well, Johnny Crowder, thank you so much. Round of applause. And now let me introduce Jen Dalton, who will lead us in the Q&A session.
Hey, Johnny, thank you very much. Great, great presentation. And even that went a little bit over. I think you gave a lot of context that was helpful as we think about our questions. Just to kick us off with a quick question, and then again, please raise your hand through reactions in the Zoom or drop a question in chat. What are the marketing goals you have this year? Do you have some numbers you can share, or the types of numbers along with segments that you're really trying to pursue? Because that might shape some other answers and ideas.
So part of the challenge with planning marketing stuff is that I pretty much, like every new business, if you look at our existing book of business, you're like, what is the rhyme and reason here? It's kind of all over the place. We have like an ultimate Frisbee team, and then some giant healthcare company, and then like a pie baking store, and it's like all over the place, right? So part of it is that we really need to figure out, I think for me, something that I'm very hopeful for, and this is not backed by data, this is just anecdotal. I believe that if we really invest in our B2C marketing, it will generate enough social traction that the B2B inquiries will come, because literally all of the contracts, enterprise contracts CopeNotes has ever closed have been inbound. So we've never done formal outbound so far. It's all been requests. With that being said, a lot of those people who place a request for an enterprise contract have used our free trial or have used a paid subscription of their own. So my thinking is, if we put money into marketing and advertising for our B2C arm, it will generate enough trials and awareness to where the inbound flow will come.
Okay, thank you. That was helpful. I'm going to tee up Patrick. I see your hand raised, and then Lisa, and then Melinda. Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So how do your enterprise customers track use, right? Like they're giving you money, like what makes them continue? Do you give them a percentage?
Do I give them a percentage
Of engagement, or how many of their employees are using it?
Yeah, they have like an enterprise dashboard, so they can see like text exchanged, subscriptions redeemed, and then they even get like sentiment stuff. So like this percentage of people are self-reporting that they are having a positive experience on the platform. And then we can also deliver anonymized qualitative feedback. So if someone's like, wow, this text totally changed my life, and like something like that, if we remove any identifying information, we can actually deliver that to the enterprise buyer.
Great question. Thank you, Patrick. Lisa, go ahead.
Great presentation, Johnny. I appreciated everything that you, I actually really enjoyed the explanation. Many months of my degree did I have to draw synapses, and this took me right back. So my question for you is, since you are considering outbound, who is your ideal customer segment? Like, who is the person that you're really looking to market this to? And my question is, if you know who this person is, do you have data? Are you looking at who is using it versus who you're really geared towards?
Yeah, so I will share with you that I have not been as rigid as I should have been with my sales processes so far. For the first 4 years, I was like, get money in the door. I just need for this to survive because we're bootstrapped. So now I'm like, oh shoot, I should have been measuring like how many calls to demo, how many demos to close, So I don't have those metrics, but I can look at our existing enterprise customer list and tell you that a majority of them fall into for-profit employers, nonprofits who typically will pay like via grant funding or something like that, and then government. So this might be a government making a purchase for residents or a government making purchase for employees.
Okay, so the people that you are looking to purchase your service are these are, entities that have a great set of users, rather than you going out and looking to market directly to the consumer. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where my marketing plan might seem a little dissonant to people. But remember that the only reason why we have these existing customers is because they used CopeNotes as an individual person in the first place. So it might be a good marketing bet, or it might not. Maybe it would make more sense to market directly to the government or the nonprofit or the employer group rather than the individuals within. We don't really know.
Okay, and because you're not collecting any information other than the phone number, do you not really have data about your end user?
Yeah, pretty much all we have is like the qualitative feedback that people choose to share
Okay.
in feedback forms or testimonials or anything like that. So that's kind of what we had to weigh initially, was like, we understand that collecting less data means that we will be able to be less targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So just a quick, I'm gonna jump in because Lisa, you got like 3 for 1. So I want to make sure we get other questions too, although that was very helpful clarification. Melinda, if you could just ask your question quickly, and we'll keep it concise and keep going around.
I wanted to focus on your inbound, outbound, and how you want to market your service. And I want to focus on, I like the idea of doing everything online, but I also feel that you may want to have a sales organization or some people to call on the industry that's going to bring you partners. And I'm thinking of partners like SHRM, which is for HR people. I'm thinking about other types of affiliations, maybe with psychiatrists, maybe with psychologists. And there may be associations for that, or some medical associations that you can go through. And also things like AA, and there's another one, and I can't remember what it's called, but a lot of people that are not spiritual use it. And they use it for other types of addictions like meth. But if this became part of what they got and were open to start using, I think it would really help them a lot. And I think that if you had a sales organization to help you pull some of these groups together for you, you're going to be able to get a lot by word of mouth. And then you need to go on talk shows and other things and talk about this, because you've done your TED Talk. You should be letting people hear your TED Talk, and you should be exposing all the things that when you're out talking in public, you can then take whatever you've said and start putting bits of it online and using it everywhere. And you should have a YouTube channel too for all of this.
Yeah, the channel partnership thing is something we're trying to invest more in. We're working more with like benefits marketplaces recently. Also, on one of our slides, you saw ICMA, the International City and County Managers Association. partnering with them and being like, the preferred mental health partner of that has driven a ton of enterprise business for us. So like, if I could clone myself to do a bunch of different things, I would definitely like do YouTube and do like, of course I want to do talk show stuff, but I think ideally you're right, having a sales organization, even a small one within CopeNotes, so that while I'm doing that top of funnel, like awareness generation, if someone's like, I want to learn more, it's like, great, you should talk to Melinda, and Melinda will help get you set up and stuff.
And Inova and other hospitals. And yes, and you really need that organization.
So let me keep us moving on. If you have ideas or other follow-on comments, please drop them in chat. Deb, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Sure, thanks, Jen. And thanks, Johnny, for the presentation. Just a quick question. When somebody gets a text from you, is that a live text or is that just a pre-programmed text that somebody gets? In other words, can somebody respond to that?
Yeah, so when we text people, all of the content is written by real people, not a robot, but then it's delivered by a robot. So we can have like infinite scalability there. So technically we have a living library of pre-existing content that's delivered at artificially randomized intervals. Does that make sense?
It does. So how do you know what content goes to what people? Because everybody's got different issues, right? And so
this is Jen's not going to like how long the answer would be, but basically natural language processing and machine learning.
Okay. Okay. All right, great. Thank you. That's helpful. In terms of your question, it seems to me that if you were to sort of sequence these things and start with marketing first and see how that goes, because if you start with enterprise sales, you've got to hire people. There's a lot of investment on your part in terms of getting those folks up to speed, and that may or may not give you the return that you want. So if I were to have to sequence these, I would say try marketing first and see how that works. Just my 2 cents. Thank you.
And Reggie, go ahead.
Yeah, Johnny, great presentation. I think you can do both. Sort of like what Deb said, I would start with B2C. I wanted to ask you about the gift subscription. I think that seems like something I would love to know what data you have as far as how popular that's been. It says popular on the website, but I imagine that if I could get this and then like buy one and gift one, that would create I don't know if that's feasible, but I feel like that would create a lot of positive buzz about the product and just get it in more people's hands. And kind of following on that, like I wonder if you know about how people have like retained, or stuck with it after, let's say, a year, of the gift of subscription. I'd love to know the numbers as far as, whether it's people value it enough to pay for it after, let's say, the gift subscription runs out or something like that. So that's it.
Yeah, the short version, I don't have all the numbers ready. We have a dashboard that has all the numbers on it that I don't have immediately, but I can say that the gift subscription, basically for every 2 paid subscriptions we sell 1 gift subscription. So it's fairly common, like 33% of our paid subscriptions are gift subscriptions, which is like a pretty huge chunk. And also we do, right now we do a BOGO 50% off, where if you buy a single subscription, whether it's paid or gift, pop-up pops up that's like, hey, you can get 50% off gift subscription right now. And almost half the people who check out on our website actually take us up on that. So it's like, we're seeing a lot of conversion around that, like BOGO mentality, like wanting to try it and share it.
John Rittenberg.
Thank you. And Johnny, thank you so much for your presentation. So you're really looking at 2 markets between New York State and individual consumers, just as an example. But you said something that was very, very relevant early on, which was some of your relationships with these institutional buyers came from individual users. And I think in the short term, to get your next 10 institutional users, Even though everything is anonymous, to the extent you can identify folks who are utilizing and are satisfied by your product, who are working in those organizations that would be relevant as your next 10, I would pursue that on a very, very narrow basis. And I don't know if it's a true BD person that you need for that initially. But first identify those 5 or 10 organizations that would be relevant based on your current users. And that's even before you start trying to draw in inbound, which is a B2C, as opposed to investing in outbound, which is more B2B.
Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Hey, Johnny, just and I'm sure you're already looking at your marketing calendar, thinking about this. Mental Health Awareness Month is coming up in May. So what kind of, media pitching are you doing, or podcasts between now and then? Mental health is getting worse and the numbers are worse, especially in the teen population, but you also see it in adults, and you also see it in, for example, older white males, for example. So that's one question. What are you doing for that? And the second question, and maybe this is kind of crazy, if people gave you another piece of data, like age, would that be enough to give them a discount on price? Because I could see age or maybe one other data point like that being very helpful as you're thinking about targeting and natural language. So just a thought.
Yeah. So, what was the first? Oh yeah, Mental Health Awareness Month. Literally every year, we're like, okay, we need to try to put as much attention, effort into Mental Health Awareness Month as possible, because, and not a lot of that is public. Like, we're not really the type of company that like, yeah, check us out, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And this is, we more leverage that in like our individual conversations with our partners. Like, hey, if you are trying to do something for your employees and you're unsure when to start or what you want it to look like, May is the month to do it, because overall stigma, the sentiment is lower in May. So your employees are much more likely to feel appreciative and actually enroll in the month of May. So we kind of leverage it in that way. I think we could afford to do more like publicly, like outward facing stuff for May in terms of marketing. And also, as far as the demographic information, one thing that does help is that we do have Google Analytics on our website. So we are able to collect some type of information around like website visits and frequencies based on demographic and geographic location. So we're not just like flying blind when it comes to marketing. We don't necessarily have all of the specific data that we would want from like individual users, but we are able to use like anonymized demographic data like aggregate to inform our marketing approach. I do think that that is an interesting idea that I want to like dig into another time. Like, each piece of information that you add, maybe it's like $1 cheaper or something. I don't know. I want to noodle on that after. That's cool.
I definitely think now, if you're looking at May, pitching media now, like morning shows, magazine articles, etc. So if you haven't started doing that, I'm happy to talk with you more offline. There are some questions on, have you thought about, well, I'll have Melinda ask because she was writing them in chat. Go ahead, Melinda.
I'm thinking that this is a really good time to contact some of the sports people, Hollywood people, and music people that have come out about mental health and why they have not been doing things, because they just haven't been able to do it. They're having issues with their mental health, and they may be good spokespeople that you may want to talk to and see if they can help share the message with people that need help and may not know how to get help. And maybe putting together a team of folks that want to speak up for your mental health.
Dude, that would be stellar. Like, part of what we're running into right now is kind of like a talent bottleneck. Like, we have a very small full-time team. Everybody else is contract or part-time or something. So what we really need is all these ideas that we're discussing. We would like literally need someone else to do the task, because we're all like breakneck right now, but I want those bases covered. Like I would gladly, if the money made sense, if they could work on a bootstrap startups budget, I would love to hire people to manage those relationships and get that moving now for sure. Same with the PR stuff.
So Donnell, are you ready with the last question?
Wow, we've been having so much fun. I can't believe
Time
we've
flies. I know.
Johnny, I'm another John, except my John has an S on it and it ends with John. So this has been a great, great message. No, I love what you're doing. The mental health space right now, especially with everybody, you know, on the tail end of this pandemic, being at home, working through a computer, and not really getting the affirmations that they need from their loved ones. This is awesome that you have a tool that does this. But you didn't come to hear that. We want to ask you our final question, which is, what do you want our 1 Million Cup community to do for you?
I think my initial answer was going to be different, but some of the stuff that you guys brought up made me want to shift it. So a lot of the conversations we've had around like, you should talk to like a sports person or like a celebrity or something about that, or you should you should do more PR stuff and reach out to magazines or press. Like if anyone on this call knows someone that we should be connecting with in advance of Mental Health Awareness Month to like do some cool thing in May, if it's a nonprofit, if it's an employer, or if it's like an actual press or media outlet or anything like that, or even someone like, oh, this person will make a great intern or a great PR person for you, a great marketing person for you, please introduce me. I actually just put in the chat my email. It's just johnny@copenotes.com. So please, if you have it within you, and I know you do, to make an email intro, there's 19 people on the call, minus me is 18. If 18 people on this call make an email intro to one other person today, I will be a super, super happy camper.
That is awesome. And that is a great ask. I think me and you need to connect. I'm deep in the veteran space, and that is a great way to communicate, because I'm all about positive messaging. I'm about to say this, and I know I'm about to get beat up by my community, but I'm done with this 22 push-up thing. I don't know how 22 push-ups can do anything for you, but positive information and affirmations and information that's going to help you reconnect your wiring in your head to think about the way that you deal with your your day will definitely help people. So let's connect.
Yeah, thank you all so much. I also put my LinkedIn link in the chat as well. So please hit me up and let's stay connected. I don't want this to be like a one time in a vacuum thing. I would definitely love to chat with all of y'all offline via email.
So on that note, we will invite you back 2 months from now, maybe even just a month and a half from now, so we can hear what you're doing in readiness for May. So yeah, you're going to hear from us. We might stalk you a little bit.
Yeah, thank you all so much for your time.
So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to John, who's unmuting himself at the moment, to move us forward.
Thank you very much, Jen. And again, Johnny Crowder, thank you for your presentation. Next week, March 2nd, it's hard to believe, Mark Masters, who presented to us, it's probably 2 years ago, is coming back, and he's going to re-present. His business has morphed like many of our businesses in the last 2 years, and he has new challenges. So we're excited that he'll be joining us. And please, all of you, be here next week and bring a friend or a business colleague. Next slide, please. Okay, we have a number of upcoming presenters. And I see that Rochelle Hemingway is Slay to Success is scheduled for March 23rd, and I commend her for becoming a regular attendee. That's awesome. We have some open spots. March 16th and March 30th. So if you know someone who could present, we'd love it. And we are working with a few who are in our pipeline and will most likely fill one or two of those dates. Next slide, please. Are you interested in becoming an organizer? We need new blood. We need fresh ideas. We need people who can take on a task or two. We probably spend under 2 hours per week on our various responsibilities, so it's not burdensome. And it's a great opportunity to work with a fantastic group of people to lead and guide 1 Million Cups Fairfax, the best 1 Million Cups chapter in America. So please consider becoming an organizer and helping us make this even better. Next slide, please. So everyone can read what are the upcoming events. And I did see that Jennifer Rose, I think, is in the room, maybe not at the moment. I'm seeing
is.
her. Okay. Jen, could you update us on some of your activities for Central Fairfax? Great.
Yes, of course. Thank you, John. Great presentation today. I have just gifted my sister with this CopeNotes. She totally needs it. So awesome service you have. Thursday, our women's committee is having their monthly meeting, and it's a planning meeting. Gentlemen are always invited to our lunches and any of our women's events. That's Thursday at noon at Patriots Pub and Grill. And then for anybody who's interested in learning a little more about the chamber, coming up in just a couple of weeks, we have a chamber orientation on Friday, March the 18th. I'm certain I'll see you guys before then, but I know our calendars fill up. And then save the date for a couple of other events coming up in March. On the 8th, we have a special play date edition of Business After Hours at the Love to Play location at Fair Oaks Mall. Little non-traditional, but it's going to be so much fun. And as we all know, play is important to our mental health. And then our Young Professional St. Patrick's Day Bash is coming up on March the 15th. It is coincidentally sponsored by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. They're really promoting their Out of the Darkness walk for that particular event. So come see us at any chamber event, visit our events page. I'm always updating it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jennifer.
John, I put in some events from Karen because she gave
Yep.
us a bunch. They're in the chat.
Yep. And Karen, would you like to highlight any of them?
I can jump in.
Thanks for the opportunity. We have an event scheduled for this evening in partnership with Virginia Investment Partners. It is funding your startup or funding for Virginia startups and growing companies. Registration is still open via Eventbrite, and as Melinda indicated, the information has been posted in the chat. On March 1st, we have the Entrepreneurship 101, Starting a Business in Fairfax County workshop. The spotlight speaker will be Erin Roth, who is a service-disabled, veteran-owned, woman-owned, African-American-owned business. She will be opening a restaurant shortly over in the PenFed building, and it will be a great, I think, event to hear her humble beginnings and how she founded the company and what she has planned for her new restaurant. And lastly, on March 3rd, we will have another event partnering with the Fairfax County Department of Land Development Services. And this is for people that are interested in relocating and opening a business and obtaining commercial space. And this is about all of the steps that you need to move into commercial space. So again, that is on March 3rd. So a lot of things coming up within the next couple of weeks. We hope that you will attend, and all the information has been posted in the chat. Thank you again, Melinda, for posting the information. And John, thank you for the opportunity to share.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Jennifer, for being great partners of 1 Million Cups. We're stronger because of your two organizations. And thank you so much. Next slide, please. Wow, this is where I get to say thank you. We're coming to a close. We do have a few minutes where we'll be able to hang out and network a little. But please know that 1 Million Cups is based on you. And yes, we organizers come together once a week and we do some planning and carry out some tasks. But without you, we organizers would have nothing to do Monday morning. So please invite a friend, double the people in the room, and make a difference to 1 Million Cup. Let us know you'd like to get more involved. Keep building is the last sentence on that page. So the Kauffman Foundation works with communities across America in entrepreneurship and education to increase opportunities. Johnny Crowder took a risk today to stand in front of us and tell us about his organization. You all were kind enough to be insightful, thoughtful, and caring. And that helps build success, makes us unique and uncommon, and builds us better. Thank you all for being here. I think I can close the session. You're welcome to hang out for a few minutes and chat.